McMullen and McDonald hanging with you on Birds 365. And once again, from his car, Bob Grotz. I got to start you.
Yeah, man.
What are you driving? That looks like a pretty snazzy little car. It looks like it's got several rows in it. Are you driving a minibus today?
No, it's an SUV. I'm coming back from Oklahoma. I was at Jalen Hurts' graduation.
There we go. Master.
And I didn't get an invite with the levels that I'm going to defending the Eagles' second-round pick on Jalen Hurts Day. He didn't give me an invite.
You wouldn't like it. By the way, though, I don't totally agree with both of your assessment of Hurts. I mean, the reason that they drafted him was Wentz got hurt.
Yeah, 3 years in a row. I should have mentioned the injury.
Hurt. Yeah, I mean,
never finished the season.
Did they think he'd be the face of the franchise? I'm sure they had questions, but who wouldn't after they thought Wentz would be the guy? And look at what he did. I mean, unbelievable, you know. But yeah, but
now don't fall down that rabbit hole, Bob, because they want you to fall down that rabbit hole. They want you to forget that they were making, you know, calls and uncovering and trying to get Russell Wilson to play here and trying to get Deshaun Watson to consider.
Yeah.
They want people to forget that.
I think that was because of Wentz too. You know, they wanted to win now.
Wentz was gone by that point.
No, but I mean, they were stung by what happened with.
Oh,
Wentz.
Of course,
and their evaluations
tremendously stung.
And that's the same reason why they kept drafting wide receivers. It's like, and then finally they traded for AJ Brown instead of drafting.
Yeah, I give him credit for that part. I excuse me.
If you can't draft him,
John, as a matter of fact, you don't, because you keep referring to the fact that they tried to get Allen Robinson. They tried to get so many other wide receivers that they kind of got lucky at the wide receiver spot.
No, where I give him credit, Jody, you didn't let me finish. I said I give him credit for never stopping. Look, sometimes they wanted Calvin Ridley. Not my fault. They tried to trade for the guy, but he had his app out and he was making bets, probably on the Eagles. Not my fault. They tried to sign Christian Kirk. Not my fault Jacksonville paid the Jags tax because Tony Khan's team stinks and they gave him all that money. They tried to sign Allen Robinson. Not my fault Allen Robinson wanted to play with the Super Bowl champions. How'd that work out?
What are the odds Calvin Ridley ends up with the Eagles? Yeah. Oh, that's Hey, I withdraw the question.
Yeah.
What are the odds? Very good.
They got it right though. They did get it right.
Oh, I mean, did they get it right, or did they get blocked until they got it right? Because if Calvin Ridley doesn't pick up the phone, he's in Philadelphia. They're never looking for AJ Brown. That's sort of the butterfly effect of those situations.
And now they're trying to do the same thing with the defensive line. So we'll see how that works out too. Hopefully they're as successful there as they were with the receivers.
What do you mean by the defensive line?
Oh, they're bringing in, they're drafting guys. Like, I mean, they're taking their shot. They got the tackle. They got a tackle who.
Oh, okay. 2 first-round draft picks on the defensive line.
I'm not 100%.
I didn't pick up on what you were trying to say.
Yeah, I'm not 100% comfortable with him yet. I know John likes him and his ability.
Love him.
He's got some highlights that are just incredible. And, you know.
Is that John Darm behind you? Is that what you're trying to tell us? The lights are flashing. Were you going too fast, Grotz?
Somebody blowing leaves?
Yeah, some knucklehead thinks that he should do his job during this podcast. Oh, my. Yeah.
How dare he?
I'll take care of him after we're done.
Yeah,
exactly.
How dare he?
Yeah,
Jalen Carter, though, I think he is. I think he's the best player in the draft. And how often does an NFC championship level team get the best player in the draft? It never happens because you're good. Now it's going to happen for a reason. The only reason Jalen Carter was available was because of the off the field issues. So it could go horribly wrong. But boy, if this kid hits, Bob, the NFL is screwed. They are screwed.
Yeah, it depends on how long his career is. I mean, is he going to have a longer career than say, Paris Johnson? a guy that the other guy that they wanted, is he going to have a longer career than him? I don't know, man. We'll find out. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, no question about it. I mean, already Jalen Carter he's gonna find out how difficult it is to play with those doubts surrounding him. The civil suit came out. It's a lot to ask of this guy. You give him $40 million, and all of a sudden you want him to be a man and not get in trouble. He seems like a kid to me. He seems like a kid.
Maturity, yeah. Maturity could be a problem. Could be a problem.
Like a kid who probably does a lot of the same stuff we did, but we're not the ones being counted on to do what he is being counted on to do, and we're not getting paid like that. At least I'm not. Right. I don't. This
I was going to say if somebody were to offer me tens of millions of dollars when I was 20, I would have been able to straighten up and fly right real fast too. I could have my idiotic.
I might be dead. I might go the opposite direction. Yeah.
I
might.
No, I think I could have said thank you very much and walked a straight line. Fun article you wrote 5 or 6 days ago about Sean Desai, because you guys got your first chance to meet and greet Sean Desai and get to ask him questions and the like. Just generally speaking, impressed, said what I thought he was going to say. Yeah, I'm not sure the Eagles got this one right. What was, after your first media session with Sean Desai, what was your in advance speculative read on how he's going to do as Eagles defensive coordinator?
The guy is really interesting. I'll start off by saying that he seems, he's interesting. He's transparent, and he really, the biggest thing right now, he understands the culture of the Eagles fans. He has a pretty good knowledge of that, and I don't know how you do it exactly in your game plan, but I think it's going to reflect that. With Matt Patricia looking over your shoulder, I mean, that's not going to be easy, right? I mean, it's not fair to ask him that. I mean, we're like months away from even a preseason game, so what his defense is going to look like. I didn't have a good idea of that afterwards, but he wants to get after it. He wants his guys to be physical. Who doesn't? So, the main thing I got out of that was his understanding of the Eagles fan and the culture with this team, and I think that will help him out. I don't know if Jonathan Gannon totally understood that when he came here, and or really wanted to acknowledge it. With all due respect, yeah, I mean, he was coming from a different angle, and so that's going to be fun to watch, and also the offensive coordinator. I mean, you didn't ask me about him, but I like this guy. I think I'm looking forward to the offense maybe taking the next step, and it sure sounded to me like, reading between the lines, like he had a lot of input in that game plan, and also, those off-schedule plays, John, with Jalen. I think those two guys are. I listen to him. I listen to the offensive coordinator, and I listen to Jalen, and I watch Jalen. I mean, they're going to have like their own off-schedule playbook. I swear to God. So I think that's going to take another step up. And that quarterback's already lethal with the way that he can spread the defenses. So I think the offense, that's great news for the offense. I would like to see someone solidify that guard spot. I would like to see that, before we get too far down the line. But I'm not so sure about the new guy taking a tackle and a career tackle and moving him to right guard. I don't know about that, but otherwise, I think it's going to be a really interesting year with the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator.
Are you suggesting you think that if Howie's got a free agent move and it's going to be less expensive because of the juncture of the season that we're at, you think it's
happen.
A veteran guard move? Oh, I think they're sinking or swimming with either their rookie or their second-year player. I don't think they're going out and getting a veteran guard. Do you?
Well, yeah, they could end up doing that. Their second year, I mean, if it's Driscoll, he gets hurt all the time. I'm not
talking Driscoll. I'm talking either Beef Jerky or Steen, who
No.
they just took in the draft this year?
He's too small to play guard. I mean, he really is. You can't have him play next to Jason Kelsey at the least. So he's not big enough. No, I mean, Nick said they had other options, and they do. And I think
it's Driscoll, huh?
They want bigger guys there. Well, they want bigger guys. Maybe the rookie will show up.
He's definitely big enough. That's that's their thought process. Whether he can do it or not, especially right away, remains to be seen. But he's got the short arms, Bob. You know how it goes. So he can't play tackle in the NFL because he doesn't have 33-inch arms. So they're 32 and a half. So he's got to move inside.
Yeah, that's kind of the strange thing there. But the guy, I mean, it is. It's a strange thing.
It is. It's bizarre. It is bizarre. But that's what it is.
Well, you remember the center, though, right? AJ?
Yeah. Little pterodactyl, whatever they are.
He had like hands coming out of his shoulder sockets, and he played like 15 years in the league.
Yeah.
Incredible, Mostly at Arizona, but real strong guy.
Hey, by the way, you brought up Matt Patricia, so I double-checked. He's finally on the website.
He is on the website. They put him on the website.
Yeah, he's finally on the website.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing up Matt Patricia.
I didn't
Senior defensive assistant.
Yeah, I didn't see him in practice, John.
I didn't see him in practice, but I asked after practice if he was a part of the staff, and they did confirm he was a part of the staff. And I said, well, how come he's not on the website? And evidently that spurred them to action. So he's finally on the website. Matt Patricia, senior defensive assistant. He is not the linebackers coach, which people were, focused because that was the original report way back when. That is DJ Elliott, the linebackers coach. But getting back to the offensive guards, Bob, I'm with you. Nick Sirianni is typically very cognizant of what he says, and the fact that he keeps saying that it's not Cam's job, that indicates to me they don't want it to be Cam's job. Am I taking that too far, or is it just a matter of they want him to earn the job? Which one is it?
I don't think they think he fits there. I believe I don't. And again, what I was talking about, you can have him and Kelsey right next to each other. I mean, wow, that's an A gap uncovered. It's like they're both 300 pounds, right? They're both around.
Kelsey isn't 300. Cam's about
295. I mean, man, that's a bad deal, man. I mean, especially to a quarterback who, I mean, the one way to rush Jalen Hurts is to give him pressure up the A gaps, up the middle. You look at the teams that have had success; they push him out of the pocket right away, and then he ends up going. I mean, whatever his favorite side is. Sometimes, it seems like it depends on what the game is. Whether he goes right or left. So, but I don't see that happening. Yeah, I think they're going to have a big guy in there, and hey, at the end of near the end of training camp, there'll be a million guys, and probably veterans, with maybe a year left on their contract or something. They'll be able to find something, and let's be honest about the Eagles too. It should have been clear last year. I mean, veterans near the end of their careers, they'll play for a little over the veteran minimum to be on this team because they got a shot at winning it all. And the Eagles, the Eagles are a preferred destination, and that's largely because of Jalen Hurts.
That's true.
Giving them a chance to win.
Did go to the Super Bowl last year, which adds to the draw. And by the way, if you're talking offensive line, Stoutland at his university waves his magic wand and everything works. And a lot of people believe that. We'll see if that's the case at right guard this year. I think he's going to have to do a little bit more work than he usually does. But both of you referenced either Matt Patricia and or the linebacker coach position. So I do want to go there. And he's no longer here. So, yeah, we're kind of kicking him when he's out of town. If I did this once last year, Bob Grotz, I did it, and John can confirm it on a Monday. after a game at least 3 times, if not 4 or 5. The linebacker coach, John and I started today's show talking about positional coaches rotating guys in and making the decision to get guys on the field. Do we have right to be mad at Nick Rallis, who decided to go Jonathan Gannon's route out there in Arizona as his DC, for not getting Nakobe Dean more snaps last year? I hope Nakobe hits the ground running and looks like a star this year. But there were games where the Eagles were up by 2 touchdowns in the second half. You couldn't get Nakobe Dean in there to get some snaps for Kaiser White?
Yeah, he could.
What was Nick Rallis thinking last year?
You're right. He could have done something like that. But those other guys played fairly well, and it's more about the pass rush. So I'm okay with that. And and Rallis. I don't know, John. Do you think he even got any consideration for defensive coordinator job here?
No, but he got an interview. But no, I don't think he was seriously in consideration. No.
Yeah, because you know what? I've heard him. I've listened to him before. He's a real sharp guy.
He is. Yeah.
I mean, Gannon's sharp. This guy is really sharp, and that's going to be interesting. I mean, they don't have any players there in Arizona, and by the time the Eagles play them, their season's going to be over, right?
Oh, yeah. That's like week 17. Yeah. I mean,
they don't get the quarterback. I mean, the quarterback will be back, but their season will be over. So,
yeah, they'll be in the top 5 of the draft. They'll want to lose that game. Not that they'll have to want to lose that game, but they'll want to lose it even if they are better than expected. They're bad, and it's going to take a while.
And that schedule, guys, the part of that schedule right after the bye, that is going to be a real challenge just to cover in that spot, because they play, I think, 4 of the 5 teams. They're all 5. The next 5 opponents are all playoff teams.
Yeah,
and
it's a tough stretch,
including Kansas City. But they all have quarterbacks except for San Francisco. So that'll be really interesting to see what happens there. Game split, road and away. So 5 straight guys. What is it? Kansas City, Buffalo, Kansas City on the road, Buffalo here.
Yeah, Buffalo, San Francisco, Dallas, and then Seattle.
And Seattle.
At Dallas, at Seattle.
Yeah.
That's a tough stretch.
Well, I guess I'm pushing a little bit to call Geno Smith, a quarterback.
He had a great year last year. He really did. He really did.
And oh, by the way, assuming Brock Purdy's back by that point, San Francisco will have a quarterback too.
Yeah.
Now, it's an assumption.
You just took a backhanded shot at Jody's guy, man. Be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful on the road.
Jody, I got to tell you, man, the Eagles knew they were going to win that game. I know it looked worse without any.
Oh, it wouldn't have been that bad. I'm not going to go.
Jody, everybody in that locker room knew they were going to beat this guy. Every player, every Eagles player. Yeah.
He was undefeated at the time.
I know, but they knew it. They couldn't wait to get out there. Yeah, and Purdy, he did a great job. But you could tell. I mean, the Celtics, the Cowboys really blew it, man. They had a shot to knock them out, and I don't know. They came up and scored 12 points or something like that. So.
Now
that's why any of the 49er fans would say we would have won the game. Your defense was so great the week before, shutting down the Cowboys. Yeah, the Eagles went up and down the field against you and scored 31 points and basically took their foot off the gas in the second half. So that's why I don't buy the San Francisco would have won. If Purdy played, it would have been closer, would have been competitive, would have been a more fun game to watch if you're just taking rooting interest out of it.
Yeah,
no question.
I think it would have been more competitive. I don't think it would have been competitive. I think they were going to rout that team. I'm with Bob.
Yeah,
I got that feeling before I knew he was hurt. I thought he was coming back into the game, and I said once Reddick came around that corner, and he didn't have the feel in the pocket to realize what was coming at him, I said, "Oh, this is not going to go well." And I thought he was coming back in the game at that point. I didn't know he was hurt, because he was on the sideline trying to, get loose and try to get back in the game. But man, the Eagles are tough in the playoffs at Lincoln Financial Field.
Reddick's pass rush was unbelievable too.
Yeah,
he was there. I mean, the quarterback hadn't even gotten to a spot yet, and Reddick was there waiting at a spot, knowing where Purdy was going to be. And then
he had a great season.
He was there before Purdy. It was the preparation was unbelievable, So, and it's a rookie quarterback. You got to, I could have, maybe you can use a little bit of that look away magic, that you see sometimes on in hardball. And I keep going back to hardball because I still can't believe. I know this is an Eagles podcast. I still can't believe what happened to the Sixers. Oh my!
Yeah. Well, Bob has been doing some moonlighting, covering the Sixers. My God.
Yeah, the game 7 was just too much. Oh my. Yeah.
Now, who do you blame more, Bob? If I give you Embiid, James Harden, Doc Rivers, who else? Do we want to throw anything else in there? Who gets the most blame?
Superstar. I mean, he's an MVP, but he's not a superstar. I mean, I've never seen anybody so passive in the fourth quarters of games.
Ben Simmons.
Yeah. Well, okay, yeah, but he wasn't a superstar. Yeah, he thought he was.
Well, Eagles, Sixers fans thought so.
Jody, could you imagine? Could you imagine Larry Bird saying that they?
Oh
my God! I didn't touch the ball, or Magic. I didn't touch the ball. I still can't get over that. I mean, he was just spent, and MVP, regular season. Such a difference between that and a superstar who wants the ball and demand. Who goes and gets?
That's what you bring up a guy, Larry Bird, who I hated because I was a Sixers fan growing up. I hated Larry Bird, but I grew to respect him so much when I got older and wasn't as emotional about it. Those are the guys I want. Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, guys who want to rip your heart out at the biggest moment. They want it.
Right.
They want it. And Sixers don't have that.
You never hear them.
But how many guys in the NBA really are of that?
Oh no, I just named 4 historically great players.
That's a fair point, though. Yeah. I mean, look at the league today. Yeah, Steph is probably
Steph is probably the one guy.
Can still do things at times, but no, that's a good point. That's a valid point.
Who's that guy on the Denver Nuggets? They could win the NBA championship.
Well, Murray's closer to it. Murray's closer to it than anything the Sixers have. Every team has somebody. Butler's closer to it. Tatum's closer to it. Every team left has a player who's closer. They're not Bird, Michael Jordan level, but they're closer. They're a lot closer to it than what the Sixers have.
That was
how I would describe it.
Golden era.
Yeah, John, I'm glad that you knew that Murray was going to be that kind of player because there weren't that many off the injury season.
Well, I'm not saying I knew it, but I see him play, and he's willing to take big shots. Half of the battle is wanting to take that shot. I mean, to me, that shouldn't be. Now, finding somebody who's as good at it as Larry Bird, that's hard. Finding somebody to want to take that shot, like, say, Jimmy Butler, shouldn't be as hard as it seems to be for the Sixers.
Well, even in that final game, I think Embiid wanted to take the shot. He certainly said it after the game. I need to get the ball more. He just didn't make it. He didn't do what needed to be taken to get the result you needed. Yeah. But it wasn't like he was shying away or hiding in the corner.
I don't know.
Boy, he hesitated.
The basket.
He hesitated so much. Indecisive. We didn't see the same thing. I mean, anytime Horford was there, he would hesitate. It's like, all right, go up and shoot the jumper. If you're not going to, nobody post up anymore, fine. Show some decisiveness. Go up and take the jumper. You got the height, but no, he would hesitate and all of a sudden get himself into trouble and then throw up a terrible shot. Yeah, he'd throw it up. But the indecisiveness, that's the problem. You got to believe in yourself.
And Harden didn't do him any favors either.
No, Harden was terrible as well.
15 seconds to dribble the ball up the court and hold up his fingers for the play.
He was.
And move guys around. I'm tired of that.
And again, from a reporting standpoint, if he goes to Houston, I will eat a lot of crow. I think this is the biggest BS report, and Woj went down that road again yesterday. I don't think Houston wants any part of him. I don't think they're going to pay him. I think the Sixers may end up with him back again, which I know a lot of people don't want to hear. I don't believe this James back to Houston to be the mentor for the good young Rocket team. It doesn't make any sense other than somebody planting a story for the purpose of
information brokers. You got
information brokers out there. Yeah, if James Harden goes back to Houston, Bob Grotz will get you back on the show so you can go, Jody, you're an idiot. That day that you were on with us from the car, you said it had no chance of happening. Let me repeat myself. It has no chance of happening. Sometimes you just have to look at a situation and analyze and go, yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever to me. So I will laugh in the face of the biggest information broker out there, Adrian Wojnarowski, and go, there's no way James Harden's going back to Houston. They're not going to pay him.
If he leaves, they're going to have to develop Kirkmon for Moss, like.
Back to Kirk. You go back to Kirk. What? Oh man, I didn't see that one coming. Talk about not seeing one coming. Kirk to the rescue.
All right. Yeah. At Bob Grotz. Follow Bob on Twitter, delcotimes.com.
All right,
guys. One of the best in the business. Did some work covering the Sixers. We got to close it on the Eagles, Bob.
Yeah.
Now, watching this cluster of losers that you had to do throughout the playoffs, does it make it more apparent what Jalen Hurts means to the Philadelphia Eagles in their culture to have a leader like that as opposed to guys pointing fingers all over the place?
Yeah, they're really it goes without saying, but how fortunate they are. And he really, oh, man. I'll never forget this Super Bowl or the last Super Bowl, and because really to me that was his MVP appearance. So yeah, the Eagles, Jalen Hurts has made them, not just a great football team, but the preferred destination for other players, and his excitement his presence just just amps up the excitement level, the energy level. And you combine that with Nick Sirianni, who's a very good coach, and I think underrated coach, did a great job. You combine it with him, and they'll have another great season. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the coordinators. I don't have any questions about Michael Johnson, the offensive guy, but the defensive guy, yeah, he'll take some lumps learning on the job. But they got Patricia in there too, so that's going to be a transition. But yeah, with Hurts, they got a shot to win 12 or 13 games again.
All right. My last question is, and you and I were both seen drinking some coffee during today's interview. If you were to add an adult beverage to your coffee in the morning for a major pick-me-up, what would it be?
Olive oil.
Olive oil with the coffee. All right. That's
the new Starbucks drink.
Like mayonnaise in your coffee with that silly quarterback who's going to Tennessee.
Will Levis with the mayonnaise in his coffee.
Yeah, that's right there where I would put olive oil in my coffee, right there next to the mayonnaise.
Olive oil. That's the new drink, and it's good for
you. True. Bob is a huge coffee guy.
Good for your heart. Yeah, Jody, it's good for your heart. That olive oil.
No, I enjoy my coffee. I'm not going to be ruining it with either mayonnaise or olive oil. Little Irish whiskey, yeah, I could do that, but olive oil, no, I'll be passing.
I'm just going to dump it at the Lincoln Financial Field press box.
I'm going to try that olive oil when the drink.
See that?
I forgot what they oleotric. I forgot what the drink is, but it's something that you should definitely try. Yeah.
No, that won't be happening. Right. But we will be getting you on again, Mr. Grotz. Thank you very much for jumping in today.
Guys.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
Stay safe out there on the roads.
Yeah. Bundle up. You got your jacket. It's going to be 80. You don't need it anymore.
Now, every once in a while, you hop in the car with Grotz.
Oh, yeah.
Going down to Washington or up to New York or whatever. Does he drive when you go, or does he backseat it?
He usually backseats it. If he's not to drive. Kratz usually has been driving down. Sometimes Martin. I drive down typically when there's not people involved. I don't like people.
but Grotz is last choice to drive, right?
Yeah, he's last choice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's why you need to keep him. Maybe that's why he gets in the car and sits behind the steering wheel, because he knows other than that, he's not going to get to talk to John McMullen from behind the steering wheel, because you're not going to let him drive because you're too smart to do that. All right, Jody McDonald, John McMullen.